This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top questions and things you struggle with most so you can have more energy and less decision fatigue about what to eat, how to move, and you can change your thoughts with the life and the energy you love in the second half. And we're here really talking about just that. This is our 10 easy steps to more energy in our Flipping 50 summer series. And we're here every episode right now with Mind Rewire expert, Christy Mattoon. And we're in step 9 already. So if you've missed any of them, feel free, just go to the show links. I'll lead you right back to some of the prior episodes so you can link it together, make it all sense. But stick around and listen to this one, because this one's all about how practice makes perfect, and maybe perfect imperfection. Christy, how do we flip our energy today?
Well, practice makes a huge difference. People sometimes will say, well, I don't practice anything. And I always stop and have to take a deep breath, because yes, you do. Whether you think you're practicing or you think you're not practicing, you're practicing something. And if you're not practicing something that will benefit you, you're probably practicing something that's not benefiting you. So if you want to take control of it, make a decision about what you want to practice, and then decide how you're going to practice it. Whatever it is, if it's something that's going to benefit your life and you take control and authority in that realm, you're going to do better than just letting life happen to you and let life being the practice. So when I'm practicing, what my practice typically is the way I end my day and the way I start my day, and then it's little moments in between here and there. Part of my practice is what I described in an earlier segment, where we talked about what I do at night and what I do in the morning. And when I'm doing that practice, I'm totally desynchronizing my day so I have good energy to go into the next day. And when I'm setting up my next day, it's to keep me moving forward through the day. People practice meditation. People practice prayer. People practice yoga. People practice karate. And what it does in those instances, it makes them better at what they're doing. No matter what the practice is, if you're practicing nothing, you're practicing not getting better at something, right? Does that make sense? So I want you to, think about your practice as something that you can do to benefit you. Think about your practice as something that's going to move the dial, move the notch, and move you forward to whatever it is you're trying to do. Part of my practice daily, and one of the things I try and get my clients to do, is breath work. Because if we're in agitation, if we're in anxiety, if we're in depression, breath work can make a huge difference all by itself. So part of the practice is set the little timer on your phone to go off every hour, or maybe every 2 hours. And what you're going to do every time that goes off is you're going to stop and you're going to take 10 deep, intentional breaths. And that's it. That's part of the practice. You remind yourself to breathe. The phone goes off, you stop, you take your 10 breaths, you notice how your body's feeling, and then you go on with your day. What people have noticed just by doing that alone is that it keeps calming their system back down. So they might be getting revved up into a stressful whatever. 10 breaths, if you're inhaling for 4 seconds and exhaling for 5 seconds, 10 breaths barely takes 2 minutes. And people will argue with me about this. I don't have time to stop and turn my timer off and spend 2 minutes breathing. And I tell you, if you do that for yourself, that practice alone will make a huge difference. If you're a person who practices meditation and you've fallen away from it, I just encourage you to find time to get back into it. Even 15 minutes a day, it's been proven, makes a huge difference in the outcome of somebody's day. When you sit down with yourself and allow yourself to decompress and just kind of move into that state where you're just calm and you sit in that peace for a few minutes, huge differences. People will ask me, well, how do I do it right? I don't know. I've never figured that part out. But doing it is the deal. Not doing it right, not being perfect at it. The perfect part doesn't matter. It's just doing something that's going to benefit yourself and to movement forward. And as you're doing it, you're going to alter it. You're going to change it. Somebody's going to say something. They're going to give you a better way to do it. They're going to give you something different. And you're going to keep growing and growing in that practice. The practice is really life. At the end of the day, you're practicing whatever it is you're doing here on this planet. And if you're just letting it happen to you and keep rolling over you, it's time to take your authority back. And it's time to stomp your foot a few times and decide who you want to be. And then every morning when you wake up, say some positive statements, put it in a whole brain state, capture it inside the cells of your body, and then try and walk it out in your day and just notice what happens. Notice the difference. And then when you go to bed at night, you're desynchronizing all that in your system. Let your body go to sleep in peace. Let your body go to sleep without all this stuff running around in it. And notice the difference when you wake up the next morning. The practice itself becomes so important. I can't even express it enough. And if you don't have time to do the practice, we might need to sit down and discuss ways that you can unload your life a little bit so that you can take it back and start to take authority over it. Because your life, you're here once. You get this shot once. And we want to make the best of it. And especially after 50, we want to make this the best next 80 years you can possibly be through. We're living longer and longer, right? We want to be healthy. We want to be whole. We want to have fun. So the practice becomes important. I practice breathing every day. I practice my positive affirmations in a whole brain state every day. I desynchronize my system every night, and I practice planning my day every day in that whole brain state. And then my prayer work is kind of constant all day long, constant communication.
Love it. Love this message that practice makes perfect imperfection. And let that sink in a little bit before you move on to the next one. But we are talking tomorrow. Already, it's step 10. So we're talking about how to solve your stress symptoms now and avoid disease later tomorrow. So it's a 2-for-1 day tomorrow. Tune in, don't miss it. And if you've got a question about today's show or any of the prior episodes in this series that we've hit, leave them below the show link at flipping50.com and join us on the Flipping 50 TV Facebook page to get all the juicy resources to the past episodes in this series. Just connect at flipping50.com/podcast Summer Energy Series. And if you enjoyed the show, please leave a rating in iTunes and then share this with a friend. Support yourself with a community of women who are on the same journey. What are you waiting for? Start Flipping 50 today.